Assalamu alaikum, second year students. How are you? I hope you are enjoying your vacation back at home along with online classes and are preparing for the upcoming tests as well. I'm receiving your assignments, students, and not all of you are responding. However, those who are responding, they are requested to send their assignments on the English group and not individually to me. Okay. Number two, if your answers, if your questions and answers are covering the lecture, if they are covering all the facts which are included on the slides I share with you, then please don't get upset. It means you are almost completely covering the whole chapter, because I try my level best to cover the whole chapter, all the facts which are important and which you may need in your, from your examination point of view to learn in these video lectures. Okay, so लिहाजा प्लीज कोशिश करें और घबराइए नहीं. If you feel any problem, you are feel free to contact me. Now today we are going to start our lesson number 7, chapter number 7 of Goodbye Mischiefs, and the writer is James Hilton. Now, in the previous chapter, we have learned that Catherine and Mr. Chip's marriage was really very successful, and it was something which Mr. Chips was not expecting. It was a period of great happiness for Mr. Chips. His marriage years were the happiest, or was the happiest time of Chips' life. Now, in this chapter 7, like in chapter number 6, there were certain memories, some memories of Catherine Bridges, how she won the hearts of people at Brookfield. किस तरह से उसने Brookfield में house master, teachers, students और wives of the masters के heart win किए, और how she influenced the personality of Mr. Chips, and how her influence played an important part in producing a wise and mature Mr. Chips by brightening, by blooming his natural abilities, his natural capabilities, and by enlarging his horizon, she made him think beyond Brookfield. Similarly, and there was one thing more, the soccer match, how she persuaded Mr. Chips of hearing soccer match and which was very much successful, which showed the power of Catherine Bridges and her conviction, and which proved that her conviction was really true, that nothing untoward, a bura incident would not take place at Brookfield. Now again in this chapter number 7, we are told, and this is an important chapter from the point of view of your exams, because mostly the questions which are asked on this chapter, they are related to how Catherine Bridges influenced Chips in his dealing with the students, in which cases she asked Mr. Chips to adopt a lenient or a softer attitude towards students, and where he should adopt a harsher attitude. ठीक है, कि कहाँ पे Catherine Bridges Mr. Chips को कैसे pursue करती थी कि स्टूडेंट्स के साथ डीलिंग में उसको Mr. Chips को वो कैसे गाइड करती थी, कहाँ पे वो कहती थी कि मिस्टर चिप्स को लीनियंट रहना चाहिए, कहाँ पे वो कहती थी कि मिस्टर चिप्स को सख्ती करनी चाहिए. ठीक है, सो इसके अंदर बेसिकली जो मेजर इसका क्रक्स और ये कि मिस्टर चिप्स जो है वो चाहते थे कि वो अपनी मेमोरीज को, ही वांटेड टू पेन डाउन हिज मेमोरीज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ बुक, किताब की सूरत में अपनी मेमोरीज को लिखना चाहते थे, बट दोज मेमोरीज वो क्यों नहीं लिख पाए वो आपको इसका चैप्टर में पता चलेगा. Okay, let's begin with the memories of Catherine Bridges. The chapter begins with Mr. Chips recalling Catherine Bridges as he was sitting, as he sat by the fire at Mrs. Wickett's place listening to the school bell, and with the clanging of the school bell at toilet time, the memories of Catherine Bridges came to his mind. We are told that those the memories of Catherine Bridges were radiant, were glowing, were vivid, and they were the warmest patch of his life. And then, what were the memories? The first memory which came to Mr. Chip's mind was Catherine Bridges scampering along the stone corridor. Okay, the first memory which came to his mind was of Catherine Bridges scampering along the corridor, stone corridor. Now, scampering means to walk hurriedly. So, Catherine Bridges की पहली memory क्या है कि वो जो stony corridor है, बरामदा है, उसमें वो तेजी से भागती हुई, जिससे थोड़े हिंद में आई है. What is she doing? She is laughing at some howler, at some silly mistake which is made by a student in his essay, which Mr. Chips was marking. Okay, or Mr. Chips. So this was the first memory of Catherine Bridges, which came to his mind. Then taking a solo part in a mosaic trio for school concert. The other memory was of her participating in school concert in the musical function of school. Mrs. Catherine Bridges participate करती है और वो क्या कर रही है, एक वुडन म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट है सलो, वो प्ले करेगी in the its musical concert. And then the third memory, so this was the first memory of hers, walking hurriedly, laughing at some powder. The second memory, taking part in the musical concert of the school, and then the third memory of hers was attending a garden party, which is followed by speech day, prize distribution or prize giving ceremony. The fourth memory, which is very important, very important, and that is tendering her advice to Mr. Chips regarding his attitude towards problematic students. Okay, tendering advice to Chips regarding problematic students. अब क्या है, चौथी मेमोरी क्या है कि वो एडवाइस करे, टेंडरिंग ऑफरिंग एडवाइस टू मिस्टर चिप्स रिगार्डिंग प्रॉब्लमैटिक स्टूडेंट्स. सो पहली मेमोरी है, हंस रही है किसी जोक पे, किसी से मिस्टेक पे, उस मजमून की जो कि मिस्टर चिप्स जो की गई है उस मजमून में जो कि मिस्टर चिप्स चेक कर रहे हैं, पार्टिसिपेट कर रही है स्कूल कॉन्सर्ट में, गार्डन पार्टी अटेंड कर रही है, एंड फाइनली एडवाइजिंग चिप्स रिगार्डिंग प्रॉब्लमैटिक students. So these are the memories of Catherine Bridges, which were very much clear and vivid in Mr. Chips, which were very clear, and Mr. Chips still recollects them. And then we are told, as we could easily judge from the previous slide, from this slide, that what were the activities in which Catherine Bridges was participating at school. So she was participating in various activities, in different activities. She was a talented lady, as we have been told that she was only 25 years old, and she was energetic, enthusiastic, and definitely she was capable. So she was participating in different activities. I have written down soccer match so as to just make I have made a mention over here of the soccer match so that you may recall it was a soccer match taken between Brookfield and East Missionary School. Then she participated in school concert, and Mrs. Chips had a vivid image of Catherine Bridges playing the musical instrument in the party. We have been told that she was a good player and a fine musician. So soccer match करवाया उसने स्कूल में, स्कूल कॉन्सर्ट में पार्टिसिपेट करती थी, म्यूजिशियन थी. Then she participated in garden party, and she also participated in the December house matches where she was dressed up according to the weather. Now in December it was really very cold, so she had put on clothes which had fur, and she was completely covered to save herself from the winter, from the effects of the cold weather. So this was what she participated at Brookfield. Then, what kind of life Mr. Chips and Catherine had, or what kind of matrimonial, or if you maybe ask कि आप comment करें उनकी matrimonial life के ऊपर, उनकी married life के ऊपर, ठीक है ना? So, what kind of the married life of Chips? So it was married life of Chips, and we are told that it was married life of Chips was the happiest period of his life. ठीक है, he had never been that much happy जितना कि वो अपनी शादी के बाद खुश था. और the memories of his marriage life, though it continued, आप आगे पढ़ेंगे, it will continue only, the marriage will last only for almost 2 years, but the memories, they were still fresh even even many years have lapsed. बहुत साल गुजर गए हैं, and the recollections, the memories of the past of his marriage were still radiant. And the marriage with Catherine Bridges influenced Mr. Chips' personality, as you have read in the previous chapter. And in this chapter as well, will come up, you will see कि किस तरह से Mr. Chips जो हैं उनकी dealing here with the children, with the students, would be affected by Catherine Bridges. So their marriage was altogether a great success. It was a rapid success. It was the happiest period of Chip's life. The memories were still fresh in his mind, and these were the most glowing recollections of his past life. And these memories, even after the death of Catherine Bridges, these memories were the cause of were the cause of influence, or were influencing Chip's personality. Moving on to most important part of the chapter, Mr. Chips was influenced by Catherine's advice. Different sort of advice given by Mr. Chips. Now, students, from grammatical point of view, I must tell you, you must keep in mind, as there will be correction of errors. There is correction of errors included in your syllabus. This word advice, we can't say advices. It will be many pieces of advices, a number of advices. Okay, so Catherine Bridges influenced Mr. Chips through her advice, through her pieces of advice which she offered him. Now, usually, her advice, Chips would admit, in general, Mr. Chips' opinion क्या थी? Her advice, Chips would admit, were good. Her advice were good ones, though he did not always take them, but was always influenced by them. So generally, Catherine Bridges' advices were good, and however, Mr. Chips would not always act upon her advice. And how many times he would not act over her advice? It was 1 out of 10 times that he would not act upon her advice. ठीक है, आमतौर पर Mr. Chips क्या कहते हैं कि उसकी एडवाइसेस अच्छी होती थी, लेकिन वो हमेशा उसकी एडवाइस पे अमल नहीं करते थे, ठीक है, लेकिन हमेशा उससे मुतासिर जरूर होते थे, ठीक है. This is very important. He did not always act upon her advice. He did not always take her advice. He was always influenced, get affected by her advice, ठीक है ना. So और कौन से मौके थे, कितनी दफ़ा ऐसा होता था he would not take her advice? It was 1 out of 10 times that he would not take her advice. 10 में से एक दफ़ा ऐसा होता था that he would not take her advice. He would become adamant. He would stuck to his point of view instead of accepting her advice or her proposal. ठीक है, तो जो वो proposal देती थी, जो वो advice करती थी, जो वो मशवरा देती थी, आमतौर पे वो बहुत अच्छे होते थे. चिप्स खुद इस चीज़ को तस्लीम करता था, मगर हमेशा वो उसके एडवाइस के ऊपर अमल नहीं करता था. लेकिन बहरहाल वो वो उसकी एडवाइस से उसके मशवरे से मुतासर ज़रूर होता था और कौन कितना बार होता था he would not act upon her advice. It was only 1 out of 10 times that he would not act upon her advice, and later means later, later he would regret. Later means बाद में he would regret, he would feel sorry for not taking up her advice in almost half of the cases in which he had not accepted her advice. So अब वो केसेस जिनमें मैं वो उसकी बात नहीं करता था कैथरीन ब्रिजेस की, उसमें से 50% केसेस होते थे जिनमें वो बाद में अफसोस करता था, रिग्रेट करता था that he had not taken up her advice. Such was the word, such was the quality, such was the value of Catherine's advice. Her advice were always good ones. ठीक है ना? Though he did not always take them, but was influenced by them. Now, even after her death, when he had trouble with a boy, he would recall her quietly thinking what would have been suggested by her in that particular case had she been alive. ठीक है? Now, कैथरीन ब्रिजेस की डेथ के बाद जब कभी किसी कोई प्रॉब्लम आती किसी स्टूडेंट के साथ, तो मिस्टर चिप्स उस प्रॉब्लम के बारे में सोचते डील करते हुए सोच में गुम हो जाते थे कि अगर कैथरीन ब्रिजेस अलाइव होती वो क्या सजेस्ट करती. ठीक है? So such was this was the influence of Catherine Bridges. So much Mr. Chips was influenced or impressed by Catherine Bridges. Got it? Okay. Now, how Catherine Bridges used to advise them. Okay? In some cases, dealing with students' discipline, she would plead leniency. Pleading leniency, she would plead leniency to Chips. They were the cases in which Chips tended to be strict and considered the offense to be serious and contagious. She would point out that the boy in question might acted in a particular way because he was himself influenced by someone. On such occasion, she would ask him to show leniency and even pleaded him to give chance to a student who would try to convince him. She would even try to convince him not to take up the issue with the headmaster who would sack the boy. She would ask him to discuss the mistake with the otherwise nice and polite boy in a friendly way so that he would realize his mistake and would not repeat it. Okay, so these were the cases, or such was the case in which she would convince Mr. Chips that he should be lenient, he should be soft, he should be not that much hard or strict with the boy. Okay, what was the reason for her pleading leniency for a boy? The boy was nice and polite boy. Okay, so in case of a nice and a polite student, she would ask him to show leniency. Okay, and she would ask him to give chance to such a boy. Okay, so in case of a nice and a polite boy, अच्छे और polite बच्चे के केस में वो क्या कहती थी कि leniency, नरमी का मुजाहिरा करे. She would plead him, advocate that he should give him a chance, give him an opportunity, and moreover, she would convince him. Okay, she would try to convince Chips not to take up the issue with the headmaster. Why? Because he could sack the boy. Okay, so with a nice and a polite boy, she recommended Chips to show leniency. She would recommend that he should give him opportunity, a chance. She would force Chips, she would try to persuade Chips to not take the issue up with the headmaster because there was a risk that the boy would be sacked by the headmaster. Okay? And what should Mr. So these were the things which Mr. Chips should not do. ठीक है ना? So वो क्या कहती थी? That Mr. Chips should not do these things. ठीक है? So ये क्या चीजें हैं? Things which Mr. Chips should not do. Things which Chips should not do. Chips should not do. ठीक है ना? और in whose case? In case of a, तो ये वो चीज़ें थी जो कह रही है कि चिप्स को नहीं करनी चाहिए और किसके साथ नहीं करनी चाहिए? नाइस एंड पोलाइट स्टूडेंट के साथ चिप्स को वो कहती थी कि चिप्स को नरम रवैया अख्तियार करना चाहिए विद नाइस एंड पोलाइट थिंग्स व्हिच चिप्स शुड नॉट डू विद नाइस एंड पोलाइट वर्ड. वो क्या क्या चीज़ें हैं? You should not be severe. ठीक है ना? You should not be severe. ठीक है, severe नहीं होना. You should not report to the agent, the headmaster. ठीक है, और क्या नहीं करना? So these are the things. ठीक है ना? Because there was a danger that the headmaster could sack him, उसको स्कूल से निकाल दे. ठीक है ना? And what should he do with such a boy? He should give. What should he do? What Chips should do? अब क्या वो suggest कर रही है? What should Chips do? ठीक है ना? In such cases. ठीक है ना? वो क्या करना है चिप्स ने? Give a chance to the boy. Give a chance to the boy. ठीक है, बच्चे को चांस दिया जाए. दूसरी क्या चीज़ है? Tell the boy in a friendly way, not in a harsh way. ठीक है ना? In a friendly way, दोस्ताना तरीके से, in a friendly manner, in a friendly way, manage his mistake. ठीक है, and ठीक है, and hope that he would not, with the hope that he would not, with the hope, yeah, that he would not do it, that he would not repeat it. ठीक है ना? दोबारा से वो ये गलती नहीं करेगा. ठीक है? सो ये वो चीज़ें हैं जो कि वो मिस्टर चिप्स को she would recommend. ठीक है ना? सो ये उसकी recommendations हैं. ठीक है? recommendations क्या होती हैं? Let me write in text form. ये उसकी recommendations हैं. ठीक है ना? कि क्या? What should he do? ये उसे करना चाहिए. According to Catherine Bridges, क्या करना चाहिए? एक nice और polite boy को he should give एक nice and polite boy को he should give chance. ठीक है? और फिर tell the boy in a friendly way about his mistake with the hope कि वो इसको repeat नहीं करेगा. और जो नहीं करना वो क्या है? वो swear नहीं होना और उसको HM को report नहीं करना, lest the boy would be sacked. समझ आ गया आपको? ठीक है? So this was the instant जबकि वो instance जब वो कहती थी कि चिप्स को lenient होना चाहिए, नरमी का मुजाहरा करना चाहिए स्टूडेंट के साथ. Then proposing strict drilling, ठीक है, with student. अब वो कौन सी सिचुएशन है? Which kind of boy should be treated strictly? जो गलती करे, offense करे, कोई discipline का इशू लेके आए, उसके साथ चिप्स को क्या करना चाहिए? ठीक है ना? So she had not always advocated leniency. ठीक है? और कौन सा मौका था? होता है जबकि वो बच्चे को कहती थी कि he should be dealt strictly. वो कौन सा स्टूडेंट है? It is an overconfident boy. Overconfident boy को she never advocated कि उसके साथ लीनियंसी जो है, ठीक है। जो कॉक श्योर बॉय होता था उसके साथ वो कहती थी, कॉक श्योर बॉय है इज वेरी मच कॉक श्योर, जो बहुत ज़्यादा कॉन्फिडेंट है, ठीक है ना, उसके साथ वो क्या कहती थी, देयर इज नो नीड टू बी लीनियंट। और ऑन सच ओकेजन इट वाज चिप्स हु वाज इंक्लाइंड टू बी फॉरगिविंग। चिप्स जो है इन लोगों के ऊपर थोड़ा बहुत होता था कि बच्चे को चांस दे देना चाहिए कॉन्फिडेंस की वजह से, शायद maybe, but she would tell Mr. Chips that if the boy was asking for trouble, if the boy was asking for trouble, then let him have it. ठीक है ना? So ऐसा बच्चा जो कि ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट हो उस और डिसिप्लिन का इशू लेके आए, सो दीज आर द बॉयज जो कि डिसिप्लिन के इशू ला रहे हैं, ठीक है ना। उनमें से वो बच्चा जो कि पोलाइट और नाइस हो, उसको तो शी वुड रिकमेंड कि मिस्टर चिप्स शुड बी लीनियंट एंड वी शुड गिव टुवर्ड्स हिम एंड ही शुड गिव अ चांस टू सच अ बॉय, द बॉय शुड बी टोल्ड अबाउट हिज मिस्टेक in a very friendly and manner, and when she hope ke wo he would not repeat the mistake. Again, in case of an overconfident boy, she would suggest that he should be strictly dealt with. Got it? Then Then in the later part of the chapter, there are some memories of Mr. Chips Chitkuki he wanted to write down in the form of a book. ठीक है ना? Now, what problem were there? But there were certain problems. ठीक है ना? Chips had many memories. Okay, he was very old man and he had many memories. But those memories were of varied nature. Okay, now Mr. Chips is such an old man that the people who could share those memories with him, they were no longer alive, or they were not around any longer. So those people were not there who could share with him the emotional coloring, the emotional tinge of the memories. ठीक है ना? जो memories list हुई हुई हैं उनके अंदर जो memories हैं उनमें there is an artist's resignation which nobody remembers. Then there is an incident of Leinster hiding a rat in the organ loft of Ogilvy's. And then there was old fifth room which was called the pit. Nobody knew why the name the pit was given to that class. Okay, and then Brookfield response to Cromwell fight at Nesby. अभी किसी को याद नहीं है. Russian and the sack of potato incident. Yeah, these were the incidents which Mr. Chips remembered, but there was no one who could share who could share the feelings attached to these incidents. Okay, even Mrs. Beckett जो है, she joined school much later. So ये वो memories हैं जो कि Mr. Chips के ज़हन में मौजूद हैं, incidents हैं, लेकिन अभी कोई ऐसा जिंदा शख्स नहीं है जो कि इनको याद रखे. आर्चर का रेजिग्नेशन का इंसिडेंट लिखा हुआ है, वो किसी को याद नहीं है. रंस्टन ने अपने टीचर के म्यूजिकल जो ऑर्गन था उसके अंदर रैट रख दिया था. इसी तरीके से पिट कहलाता था पिट को, लेकिन उसके बारे में भी किसी को मालूम नहीं शायद कि वो ऐसा क्यों कहलाता था. फिर डॉक्टर क्रॉमवेल ने फाइट किया था पृथ्वी के करीब, तो क्या हुआ था. रशियन सैक ऑफ पोटैटोस का इंसिडेंट क्या था. सो जो चार्म था, जो फीलिंग्स थी इसके साथ अटैच फीलिंग्स हैं जो कि अटैच हैं इसके साथ, इंसिडेंट्स के साथ अटैच. वो कोई ऐसा शख्स नहीं है जो कि would share. So feeling attached to these incidents जो हैं वो किसी को भी कोई ऐसा शख्स नहीं है जिसको कि याद हो. ठीक है. Now, as far as Mr. Chips is concerned, for him these memories were the treasure. These memories, these recollections were the things which he loved the most, which he treasured the most, and he wanted to write them in the form of a book. Okay? And the question arises, why couldn't he? Why Why couldn't he wrote a book on his recollections? You know, so what's the reason? The reason here he couldn't do so because firstly the memories lost their flavor when he penned down few desultory notes. Okay, when he tried to write down about rationing the sack of potatoes, for instance, we are told. Okay, the charm that was attached, the feelings, the emotions that were attached with this particular incident lost their flavor, lost their essence. Okay, so it discouraged Mr. Chips to write down the memories in the form. Secondly, and the most important reason for Chips not penning down his memories was that writing tired him. Secondly, so first was this one, and secondly, writing tired him physically and mentally. When he used to write mentally or physically, Swami was ending up a bit tired of it. Why? Because there were feelings attached to these recollections. Okay, the feelings were at once funny and sad. However, Mr. Chips was determined that one day he would write a book on his recollections. Okay, so why couldn't he wrote a book on his recollections? Because the memories lost their flavors when he penned down few desultory notes. And number two, so he tried his hand. इसने कोशिश की लिखने की, लेकिन जब उसने लिखे इधर नोट्स लिखे तो उन किताब की शक्ल में या लिखने की लिखाई की फॉर्म में जो इंसिडेंट थे उनका जो उनका मज़ा था वो ख़त्म हो गया। सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात दूसरी क्या थी कि लिखना उनको जिस्मानी और ज़हनी तौर पर टायर कर देता था, थका देता था, लेकिन फिर भी वो डिटरमिन थे कि इनको किताब की शक्ल देंगे अपनी ट्रेजर्ड मेमोरीज को, और ये मेमोरीज जो थी इनफैक्ट मेंटली को थका देती थी, लेकिन मिस्टर सिम्स की ज़िंदगी की कहानियाँ थी जो वंस बनी भी थी, साथ में थी। These were about the people who were very much near to him but were no longer alive. ठीक है, ओके, समझ आ गया आपको? So moving on to the next slide. Ogilvy's and Dunster incident. Now, Ogilvy was the fire master at Brookfield, and Dunster was a student, and he was the one who had put a rat in the organ of his master's organ, and both of them, the master and the student, both of them had died. Dunster was drowned in Jutland, and Mrs. Wickett could not share these memories with Mr. Chips because she had joined the school much later. ठीक है, so memories थी जो कि Mr. Chips किसी के साथ शेयर नहीं कर सकते थे क्योंकि Mr. Chips क्योंकि वो लोग बहुत देर बाद उन लोगों ने स्कूल ज्वाइन किया और जो लोग इसको बताने की मेमोरीज थी वो बहुत हो चुके थे और उनको कोई जानता भी ना था। ठीक है, so in this chapter we have done कि Mr. Chips Kathleen Bridges, Mr. Chips को उन उनके issues से जो कि होते थे related with boys, इनसे डील करना के बारे में क्या recommendations देती थी, और ये कि Mr. Chips जो है उन्होंने किताब क्यों नहीं लिखी, और ये कि डस्टन वाला इंसिडेंट क्या है. So these are the four important aspects of this chapter. Now students, take out your pen and pencil and write down the meanings of difficult words. Here's a list of difficult words. Radiance is the first word. Radiance means brightness, chamak. Scampering, vivid. First word is rather vivid. Vivid means clear. Superb, now. Scampering means running quickly, तेज से भागना, चलना. Howler, silly mistake. Concert is a musical performance. Sheen means radiance. Saloon, wooden musical instrument with 4 strings. Muffed is the past tense of mock, and these are sort of gloves which women wear to keep themselves warm. Then furred. Furred means to cover with fur. Then hoop up. Hooped up. Hooped up is the past tense of hoop. Hoop means to confine to confine in a cage, or to confine to a cage, or to restrict to some place. Then contaminate. Contaminate means spoil. मिलावट कर देना, खराब कर देना, spoil कर देना. Reminiscence. Reminiscence means memory, recollection. Severity. Severity means something harshness. Cocksure. Cocksure means overconfident, proud person. Anecdotes. Anecdotes are interesting incidents, amusing stories. Annihilation. Annihilation means complete destruction. Desultory. Desultory means casual. Epoch. Epoch means ahead, a period of time. Dynasty. Generation. Queer. Strange. Vanish. Disappear. Twilight. It's time. Evening time. Fasting. To throw. Tendering, offering, giving, persuaded. Persuaded is the past tense of persuade. Persuade means to convince. I hope you have written down all these the meanings of these words. Until now, I have been received a simple assignment covering these words meanings. You must prepare words synonyms students for the sake of passing your objective, which is based on words synonyms as well. I hope you have done today's lesson very well. So don't forget